Is obesity a choice? Wow. Jeff Nippard really lit the world on fire with this one. People are fired up. Here's my whole thought on it, and this is, you didn't ask, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. It doesn't matter, actually. Not my thought, but whether or not obesity is a choice doesn't matter. That's the part that doesn't matter. So let's say that it isn't a choice. Okay? So it's not your fault that you're obese. Okay? But it's your fault if you don't do something to change it. And I'm saying that as someone who ended up at 236 pounds. So like this isn't like, oh, well that's nice. The guy who's been fit and skinny his entire life, has an opinion on this. Well, right. So I was 236 pounds. And I would argue that, no, that wasn't my choice. I didn't have any control over that, really, actually. I ended up in the hospital, and I was on IV dexamethasone and ampicillin and, eating hospital food, and I was bedridden. So, I know, everyone made fun of me. Russell Taylor, Alan Aragon, they all made fun of me and told me it's not possible to lose muscle and gain fat at the same time, but I definitely lost muscle and gained fat at the same time. By the time I got out of bed, because like I said, I was bedridden, I was barely strong enough to walk. Like I had to have help to walk. I couldn't take a shower standing. I had to sit on like a special stool that they make for showers, and yeah, I was that weak that I couldn't even walk. So yes, I gained weight while losing muscle at the same time, even though people tell me that's impossible and made fun of me for it. Did I do something to cause that? No, I had an adrenal crisis. Because bad luck. Like, I got hit by a drunk driver, and it did some kind of damage to my ability to produce ACTH. And so my ACTH doesn't signal properly. I produce ACTH. It's really weird. But I guess I don't produce enough of it that if I get a cold or a flu or anything like that, I don't produce enough ACTH to produce enough cortisol to handle like an injury even. Like, when you get injured, your body needs to produce cortisol. So I produce cortisol, I produce ACTH, but I guess I just don't produce enough of it. So it's kind of like a weird... It falls under secondary adrenal insufficiency, but it's not that I have no pituitary function. I have pituitary function, I guess, but it isn't enough that whenever something goes wrong, I don't produce enough cortisol, or there's some kind of signaling issue. Doesn't really matter what it is. Point is, I got hit by a drunk driver, which was out of my control as well, and then I had this adrenal crisis thing, which I have no control over. And then, I'm in the hospital and they're pumping me full of drugs, which I have no choice. It's either you get these drugs or you die. That's what happens with an adrenal crisis. And then I found myself at 236 pounds. So is it my fault that I was obese? Doesn't matter, actually. It doesn't matter. So let's say it was my choice. Let's say in some alternate universe I had control over this and I purposely decided to stop at that red light so I would get hit by that drunk driver and have this whole cascade of events happen. It's entirely my fault. Still, the outcome is that at some point I found myself at 236 pounds and barely able to walk. So, at that point, it is my fault if I choose to not do something about it. And that's really where I think that people need to just focus on. And I'm saying this as empowerment, actually. Personal responsibility is personal empowerment. If you think something is out of your control, then you're not going to do anything to change it. But if you think that something is within your control, well, now you're motivated, now you're empowered, now you can do something to change it. And that's like the way how I try to look at things. That's how I look at everything in life. There's a lot of shit that's happened to me. I could go on forever. I could probably do a whole channel on just the psychology of having to, bounce back from setbacks or some shit. Today's a weird day. It's Father's Day. My dad passed away on Father's Day. June 20th. It was Father's Day and my father passed away, but still, the very fact that it's Father's Day, and it's close enough to June 20th, of course I'll be dealing with that as well. And, yeah. These things happen. There's a lot of things that are going to happen in your life. I'm not trying to make this obesity thing something that it isn't. I'm trying to talk about it in terms of just like getting sick. Things happen to us. Accidents happen to us. What are you going to do about it? So my dad developed lymphoma, and the doctors tell us that the type of lymphoma that he had is caused by glyphosate. And my dad, grew up and worked on a farm and all that stuff, so it doesn't sound far-fetched that the oncologist told us that. My dad never felt sorry for himself. He never bitched or complained. He never said, "Why me?" He said, "Okay, how do I get rid of it? What do I do?" And so he did the chemo, did all the horrible things they did to him, surgery. They went in and cut these lymph nodes out of his neck and stuff. It was absolutely horrific. You wouldn't believe. These things were like the size of softballs. Doctors from Sloan Kettering came and took pictures. That's how bad my dad's cancer was. My dad's cancer was so bad that a doctor from Sloan Kettering came to take pictures of it because they said they've never seen lymphoma this aggressive. They said it was the most aggressive lymphoma they have ever seen. And so they actually took pictures of it, and I guess whatever they do, they're documenting it because it is the most aggressive lymphoma that anyone has ever seen. Talk about bad luck. So, but my dad didn't sit around and be like, "This isn't my fault, why me?" or anything like that. He was just like, "What do I have to do to get through it?" And so I'm not going to sit here and debate Jeff's science. I'm sure he's right. There's all kinds of factors that cause us to be obese. We have different genetics. And actually, I don't find that far-fetched to believe. Some people are genetically tall. Some people genetically gain muscle very easily. We all know those guys. We know those guys that they look at a weight and they gain muscle. There are dudes who probably, every time they sit down on the toilet, their quads get bigger because they just gain muscle easily. And so it only seemed logical that there would be some people who, unfortunately for them, gain fat easily, which, if you think about it, evolutionarily, that's an advantage, because the human condition is one where we often had to survive famine and fatigue and starvation and all these terrible things that we had to survive through because the wilderness is harsh. So, you're going to freeze to death. You're going to starve to death. Gaining body fat, that's protective. Now you're not going to starve to death, and now you're not going to freeze to death, and your body has some reserves to pull energy from, so you have the energy to go hunt something and kill it so you can survive another day. People who didn't gain body fat probably didn't survive all of that and didn't pass on those genes. So, yes, some people gain muscle easily. Some people gain height easily, if we can phrase it that way, but you know what I'm talking about. The point is, some people hit puberty and grew 6 inches and ended up being, a foot taller than everyone else. And then, obviously, some people are going to gain fat easily. Some people are more athletic than other people. Everyone's different. Can you control that? No, you can't control that. If you can control that, I would be 7 feet tall and 400 pounds. I'm coming for you, Hathor. And Eddie Hall. I don't want either one of you to think that I'm not sneaking up on you. I'm coming. I'm taking that title. We don't control those things. So, is it your fault? No. Is it your fault? Kind of. Maybe some of the decisions that you made led you there. But does it matter? No. What matters is, what do you do about it? And that's really the part that matters for anything. I mean, if you get injured, that sucks. Is it your fault? Maybe. Maybe you were doing something dumb. Maybe you were doing something you shouldn't have been doing in the first place. You shouldn't be doing this thing, and you did it anyways. Maybe you were drunk. Maybe you're like, "Hey, I'm going to get drunk. I'm going to go climb this ladder." I don't know. I don't know what you did. And it doesn't really matter either. The only question that's left is, what are you going to do now? And that's where everything goes. What are you going to do now? If you're poor, What are you going to do about it? Robert Sapolsky and Sam Harris say that the secret to success is just purely luck. It just comes down to luck. It's not like people that are successful did anything different than people who are unsuccessful. And I would agree with that on a lot of levels because, as I've said in the past, the losers, the guy who took second place, worked just as hard as the guy who took first place. You don't remember his name. Who took second place behind Michael Phelps? You don't remember his name. But you know he worked just as hard as Michael Phelps did. So there's an element of luck. There's an element of chance. There's an element of, timing even. Maybe it was just a good day for him. Maybe the other guy had a bad day. He took second place. On his best day, he would have taken first. Just the wrong day for you, bro. There's some other study out there. I think they said the best predictor of success is your zip code. Probably true. If you're born to rich parents, you get to go to good schools, and then you end up being rich and successful too, because you got all the advantages of life of having grown up in Beverly Hills or whatever shit. But what are you going to do about it? I didn't choose my parents. I wasn't like, oh, you know what? I want to start off in a trailer park. Oh well. What are you going to do about it? And so, whether or not obesity is a choice really doesn't matter. People can talk about it all they want. I don't think it's a choice. If you want my opinion on it, I don't think anyone would ever choose to be obese, so I don't think it's a choice. I think that some people have a propensity towards certain things, and it just comes out that way. But at the same time, I want you to know that you have control, that you can do something about it now. Maybe the current situation you find yourself in, you're in a bad marriage. Is it your fault? Maybe that person that you're married to, put on a really good front for a long time. And now you suddenly realize that you're in too deep. What are you going to do about it? That's what it really comes down to. What are you going to do about it now? And so that's my take on obesity. So, I was 236 pounds, got out of the hospital, and I started, it's really, you guys, I don't want to make it sound sexy or cool. I'm not some brilliant fucking person. I started walking. I started going for daily walks as far as I could, which wasn't very far. Started doing some air squats. Yeah, I remember that. First time I did air squats, I did a set of 10, and I thought my legs were gonna fucking break. It hurt so bad, and I was so sore the next day. 10 air squats. Okay, you want to know where your starting point is? If you can do 10 air squats, you're doing better than I was. Alright, I struggled through 10 air squats. Remember, I had to hold on to the pole in my garage in order to finish the set, because I wasn't strong enough to do all 10 just freestanding, and I was fried the next day. And then I just went to a simple diet. Just had meat and vegetables every day. Just every day, throw some meat in the slow cooker, throw some vegetables in, let it slow cook. Had a chicken salad for lunch and, ground beef and vegetables for dinner. I'm not a breakfast person. Sorry. It's just never been my thing. Don't get me wrong, I will eat breakfast when I'm trying to, for performance reasons, right? So, I wake up in the morning, I'm not hungry, I will still force myself to eat something if it's for the sake of gaining muscle or chasing a squat PR or whatever. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, I'm fasting for breakfast because, I don't know, fasting builds muscle or some bullshit. No. If you're training and you're looking for performance, you eat for breakfast. Whatever you choose, you're going to eat breakfast. Because you got to put fuel in. But otherwise, especially when I was trying to lose weight, I'm trying to get that extra, all that extra belly fat off. Yeah, it wasn't a problem. Skip breakfast, have a big giant salad for lunch, tomatoes and lettuce and just everything I could possibly want as far as vegetables. Nothing was off the chart. I was like, hey, I can have broccoli, I can have cauliflower, I can have asparagus, I can have peppers, I can have tomatoes, whatever. It was vegetables and meat. That's what I had every day. And I lost the weight. It's that simple. Just be active, move around, walk, eat meat and vegetables. But hey, it took me over a year. So that's something that people should pay attention to too. It took me over a year to really get down to a level where I was not BMI wise. But I never got back down to 157. I was 157 the way I walked into the hospital. And I didn't get back down to 157 until, gosh, I don't know, 3 years later. It's a very slow process. Very, very slow process. So, you know, just something to consider there. You're not going to lose 100 pounds in a week. You know, you're not gonna undo it fast. So, you know, it took me over a year to get my weight down to what would be considered a normal body weight. And then it took me about 3 years to get back down to my original body weight. And it sucked the whole way through. But, you know, you do it. Because that's my point. What are you going to do about it? So, I hope this gives some insight. I hope this gives some help. I want people to know that I have compassion and sympathy for you. Because I've been there. And it sucks. And it's really hard. And it's miserable. And it's not linear. I wasn't like perfect the whole way through. There were definitely parts of it where I just wanted to quit. I just wanted to give up. A lot. And so I just did things out of habit. You know, today I'm going to go for a walk. Not because I want to. Just because I know that this is what I should do every day. So I go for a walk. And you stick to it out of habit. It's routine, habit, whatever you want to call it. You just do it. It's like brushing your teeth. No one looks forward to brushing their teeth. Do you floss your teeth? I floss my teeth every day. I don't enjoy flossing my teeth. I'm not motivated to floss my teeth. I just don't want any cavities and gum disease and all that stuff. So I do it anyways. I don't even enjoy showering. I just shower so my wife doesn't tell me how stinky I am. I'm only half joking. If I wasn't married, maybe I would stop showering. I'll have to think about that one. I'm not sure what I would actually do. Anyways, if you guys like the video, like the video. If you guys have an opinion, comment. I certainly don't mind if people disagree. If people think it's a choice, then that's cool. And I would still tell you, even if you think it's a choice, then what do you do about it? That's really the part that I care about. It's not about whether or not it's a choice. This is where you are today. What are you going to do about it now? And that's really the middle message I think is being missed here, is that people need to talk about what are you going to do about it. So if you guys like this kind of content, subscribe, comment below, tell me what kind of topics you want to talk about. I can talk about this journey if you want. I got a whole bunch of logbooks. I can tell you all about how shitty my workouts were for a long time and how miserable I was. Because I was. I won't lie. I won't lie to you. I'll tell you just how miserable it was. Like, that's not sunshine and rainbows, man. It sucked. It sucked a lot. So I do understand and appreciate where people are coming from, because I've been there. So hope this helps someone, even just one person. Thanks for your time.